Section 1.6, Modeling with Equations. This is all about word problems. So there's 4 basic steps, guidelines that will get you through most of these. Since it's word problem, you have to start by first reading through the problem. Once you do that, you can identify the variable. Then I'd recommend you go back and read a second time, stopping at each step to express all the unknown quantities in terms of the variable. After you have all that information pulled out, that's when you can set up the model and then solve the equation. Be sure to check your answers, make sure that all of the answers make sense. Example 1, interest on an investment. Mary inherits $100,000 and invests it in 2 certificates of deposit. One certificate pays 6% and the other pays 4.5%, simple interest annually. If Mary's total interest is $5,025 per year, how much money is invested at each rate? Usually that last sentence will tell you what you're looking for, how much money is invested at each rate. So we're going to have 2 variables because there's 2 different rates, X and Y. And those are the amounts invested we know that they're going back and rereading. There's $100,000 total. So there's $100,000 total invested. In 2 certificates, that's how we know there's 2 variables. One certificate pays 6%, so we can put percent with each of these. This is 6%, and the other one pays 4.5%. And then it tells us total interest. So if our total money invested is $100,000, our total interest that we make is $5,025. That's all the information from the problem. Now we just need to know what simple interest means. And that just means that the interest that you earn is simply the percent times the amount of money invested. So with that, starting to see 2 equations shape up. First, x plus y equals 100,000. The total money invested is 100,000. And secondly, the amount of money that we earn per year from each investment totals 5,025. So the amount of money that we earn from the first investment would be 6% times x, so 0.06 times x, plus the amount of money we earn from the second, so 4.5% times y, 0.045 times y, the amount invested. And that will be our total amount of interest that we earn in a year, $5,025. There's 2 equations, 2 variables. We can solve this either using substitution or elimination. It's up to you. So I'm going to choose substitution. Solving this top equation, we get x equals 100,000 minus y. Substitute that into the second equation, so 0.06 times 100,000 minus y plus 0.045y equals 5,025. Distributing here, we get 6,000 minus 0.06y plus 0.045y equals 5,025. We are going to move our 6,000 over, so subtract that. We get a negative 975. And by combining our y's here, we get negative 0.015y. Finish by dividing. 975 divided by 0.015. And we get y is 65,000. Since that has to total 100,000, that would mean then that x, plugging it back into the first equation, 100,000 minus 65,000 would be 35,000. So we invested $35,000 at 6% interest and $65,000 at 4.5% interest. We can say at 6% and 65,000 at 4.5%. And box your answer. Example 2, dimensions of a poster. A poster has a rectangular printed area of 100 centimeters by 140 centimeters and a blank strip of uniform width around the four edges. The perimeter of the poster is 1.5 times the perimeter of the printed area. What is the width of the blank strip and what are the dimensions of the poster? So we've got a little diagram that helps us out a little bit. The blank strip has a width of x all the way around. So all of the dimensions around would be x. The printed area, the inner part here, is 100 centimeters by 140 centimeters. And again, we are looking for the width of the blank strip, which I already have labeled x, and then the dimensions of the poster, so the outer dimensions of the entire thing, including the blank strip. So going back and reading the problem, they give us dimensions, which are already accounted for in the picture. And then perimeter, since this is a rectangle, we know that perimeter, we just have to add up all four sides. So, and it compares the two perimeters. So let's find the first perimeter of just the printed area. We can solve that because we know the numerical values. 100 plus 140. This would also be 100. This would also be 140. So that would be altogether 480 for the printed area. Printed, we'll call it printed perimeter. .480 centimeters. So then to find the perimeter of the poster, if this side is 140, that goes from here up to here. But then there's the strip on top, which is x, and that same strip on the bottom for x. Similarly, we can figure out the bottom and top sides. The inner part is 100, but x is added on because the strip is on both sides. So the perimeter is going to be the same as the inner perimeter plus a bunch of these width of the strips. finish drawing the diagram so we can get a good idea. So again, 100, 140, 100, 140, that's the same as what we had. So this is for the poster perimeter. So that's going to be 480 centimeters plus all of these x's, 2, 4, 6, 8. And going back up to the problem, it says the perimeter of the poster is 1.5 times the perimeter of the printed area. So that means the perimeter of the poster, 480 plus 8x, is 1.5 times the perimeter of the printed area, 480. One 1.5 times 480 is 720. Subtract 480 from both sides. We have 8x equals 240. Divide by 8, that will be 30. So let's go back up to our problem. Remember, x is the width of the blank strip, and our measurement was in centimeters. So x, 30 centimeters, and that's the strip. And what are the dimensions of the poster? So that's added in twice on the width and twice on the height. So the poster then has dimensions of 30, 100 plus 30. That's 160 centimeters by 140 plus 30 and 30. That's 200 centimeters.